Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Challenge 41, episode 0 wrap-up podcast. I'm Brian Cohen. Here with me, as always, is my co-host, Lasher. Ali, how are you?
Probably doesn't play on the audio. Sorry for the gasp. I didn't plan to do the joint millennial pause, but I figured I would join you for the first one. Brian, like low key, like I am creeped out.
Yeah, I thought about starting this episode with the flashback. It was already on my TikTok, but I said we would be here July 23rd. It is July 23rd. We are here. I've learned to take it to over a decade plus of podcasting, I guess.
Well, I've learned nothing. It is in my phone. Chekhov's challenge premiere. Well, my phone's dirty. Don't look at it. Anyway, I have chills because, like, at first we like got the premiere date, which is next week, and we are like, "Oh my god, so close!" Like, even being that close is like amazing. And then they're like, "Episode 0 is on the 23rd." I'm freaked out. Nostra Brian miss whatever doesn't work as well as Nicole Stradamus.
No, it's okay because I'm excited. I'm excited to be back. I think the challenge always. Let me rephrase. The challenge gets me more hyped before season than for any other show because they do trailers better than any other show does. And the challenge trailer, I'm always like, this is gonna be the best season of all time. Episode 0, I'm always like, this is gonna be the best season of all time. And I'm feeling very hyped about this season.
Okay, well, in true me fashion, I did nothing. I didn't watch the trailer. I didn't get like when there was like speculation. Leave me out of it. I'm not interested. I'm not drafting.
Me and Mike Bloom.
6 weeks ago.
Yeah, that was me and Mike Bloom did that Breaking News Are Happening Now podcast about the cast.
And I didn't even listen to it. And I'm not proud of it, but like I like to come in fresh. Isn't that like a fun excuse? But no, really, like I paid no attention. I knew like, okay, 16 new threats, 16 vets, or but 12 and 12. Is it 12 or 16?
It's 16. You got it the first time. You nailed it.
Okay, I got nervous. But in going into episode 0, and then obviously, like, don't delete your comments. I don't care. I did research coming into the podcast episode. I'm more talking about the last few weeks, months where this cast has been known before, like official announcements. And so I'm watching episode 0 with the thrill of 1,000 suns. Like, I'm like, oh, this is going to be great. This is fresh meat where the fresh meat has been like vetted by other reality TV appearances. I can't wait for this.
Yeah.
No, and I loved episode 0.
Yeah. This is 100% just a fresh meat season. So I don't want to hear people in the thread or in the Twitter sphere being like, oh, the challenge needs to do a fresh meat season. This is it. There's never going to be another season where the challenge is straight up cast new complete strangers that have never been on television before. That's just not happening. So if that's what you want to happen, you're in the wrong place. That's never going to happen again. So this is as best as we can do for a fresh meat season. And I think they made a lot of really fun picks.
And like, why would we need to do a fresh meat season? You know, like there's so much reality television out there. There's so much on the table from streaming services, from international franchises. Like if they want to tell me that someone from Married First Sight UK is good casting for the challenge, you watched her on episodes in addition to whatever you did in the casting process. So glad for her to be here. You know, like I don't need whether they were plucked from a 10 episode stint on another reality show or they were plucked from a casting call. I don't care.
Yeah. No, I think they made a lot of fun picks with the people that I know. I'm excited to get to know the people that I don't know. But even the vets that they brought back, I think, are a good mix of people we want to see. There's a couple of people in particular that I think have refreshed storylines that could be kind of fun with some of the vets. And I think we get the fact that we got like an entire format almost like down, ready to go is a lot of fun before episode 1 even kicks off.
I'm suddenly getting self-conscious that I like didn't get set up right. It's been so long since we've been here that I'm like everything like testing 2, 3. No, I'm really excited to get into episode 0. I think it's a great way to do a preview. Obviously, you and I have not talked about this cast together at all. Kicking it off at the top. What do you think? We used to back in the day. I love how you're like, if you want X, you're in the wrong place. I think that with the challenge, could just be reused over and over again. Like, if you want fairness, you're in the wrong place. Like, whatever. We used to beat the drum of like, what is a veteran? Is a veteran 3 times or more? Whatever. I think maybe we've left that behind a little bit in just how the challenge has evolved in theming. What do you think about the new designation of new threats?
I mean, that's just rookie, right? They just wanted something to rhyme with vet. Like, if vet was the word, like, bookie, it would have been bookies and new rookies. Like, that just would have been the thing. But they just, they love a good rhyme. We got the vets. We need new threats. So there we go. That's just the designation.
Like, I don't think you need to say new rookie, which honestly, I'm glad they broke out of the rookies versus veteran thing, because I think it frees us from the argument of like, is Rogan a rookie even though he's won a season? I'm gonna be dropping new, and then I love it. Like, I understand why it's in the name, but like, why not vets versus threats? I love that. I think it's actually great. First time that there's in a long time I can remember them being like a like vendetta style like cutesy name for a season, where I'm like, love it. Send it to Samoa.
I think if they wanted to really appease the hardcore fan base, they could have just called it Fresh Meat 3 as well. I'm sure people would have gotten super up in arms about it, I guess, because they're not completely like new to reality TV, but they could have just done that as well.
If you want to be appeased as a fan of the show, you're in the wrong place. That's like the new thing. Well, I was gonna wait till we talk about the format with TJ, but like I'm jonesing, I'm chomping at the bit to talk about it generally. And I think the question for me with if they called it Fresh Meat 3 is, would they feel an obligation to follow a pairs to the end format? And here, I think it's being teased in the episode and in the press around it that they will not, like prediction on episode 0, they will not run, like they will not win as a pair of new vets and threats.
So it's definitely seems that they're going to shuffle the pairs. So you think when they shuffle the pairs, it's like a free for all? It could be like Bananas and Nani again, or you think you could pair vets and vets? Because I do think it's clear they are going to shuffle the pairs, but I think they will keep the one vet and one new threat cycle going the whole time. So
here's what he said. TJ said at the pretty much end of the episode. Now, to be clear, I didn't watch the next week or this season on because everyone says like things get spoiled. So like to the extent that this was already said, please enlighten me. But TJ said, going off of just the episode and the press around it, TJ said this season you're going to be competing as partners. Throw everything out that you know about the challenge, because from here on out, you need your partner to win. So I'm like, oh, okay, like throw everything out I know about the challenge, so the format will remain the same. Great, I was locked in on that. And then he says, is it going to be that experience or hunger that is more important? And I was like, well, that's a really weird thing to say if a vet and a threat are going to win together, because it would be both must. It's not going to be a vets versus threats, experience versus hunger. You're going to need both experience versus hunger. Right. So I was like, I'm not going to take anything that's said here too seriously. Then I went to the Variety article, and a segment from like the runner of what the show is going to be about said, to win, veterans and new threats will be forced to work together unless they're forced to turn on each other. Nothing is guaranteed. So do you take that to just mean like there will be an opportunity to dump your vet and get a new vet, or vice versa?
Yeah, I think so. I could see it being like, what was that? Was that the Spies, Lies, and Allies season where you can like trade your partner in, catch them in, and upgrade the way CT did with Big T? I could see that happening. I think that would be the more likely of the move, but it also could just be like a complete free for all at any point. It is weird that TJ says like forget everything you know about the challenge, because like honestly that's how you go into every season, forgetting everything you know about the challenge. So that, as you said, that makes you think that maybe it's going to be more straightforward. But I would be surprised if vets and vets are paired up at any point.
What if you get it down to 4 teams of 2? And then going into the final, you split it up and it's vets versus threats for the final. 4 versus
teams.
4.
I love it. That'd be great. That'd be fun.
Is it hunger? Is it experience? Let's find out.
And I feel like
that would be insane. Like that would be insane.
I honestly think there's a lot of hunger on the vet side. I mean, you're looking at people like Leroy and Nani, who I think would be the hungriest of everyone to try to get a win. So maybe they're like the perfect combination. This is the year for Leroy. We believe.
Yeah, I could see it. I'm down. I'm co-signing it. We're getting sort of like the dawning of a new Nani post Casey, which honestly, that breakup happened so long ago. I like forgot this was the first season we'd be talking, because we watched a whole season with her after the breakup that was filmed before the breakup.
Right.
Maybe it's a new era for Nani.
It is also very funny, and this is like if you're a Big Brother only TV watcher and you have a little bit like jump ahead 10 seconds. But it's also very funny that Casey is also on television as this is going on right now. She's making like a guest appearance on Big Brother tonight. So kind of very fun to have Nani back on our screen on one channel and Casey on our screen on the other, separately, but doing their own thing. I would bet Nani does not get mentioned on the Casey appearance on Big Brother. That's my guess.
Yeah. First of all, you're using our screen very liberally, because Casey will not be appearing on my screen on the Big Brother appearance. But yeah, I mean, that it is interesting to have such an identity as like a duo on one show, and then on the other show have just like a universe where the majority of the audience has no idea who this other woman is.
Right. There's not going to be like, so Casey, what have you been up to? Well, I've been going on the challenge. I was dating someone and we had just had a breakup. Like, there's no chance that we're going to get any of that coverage, but that'll be kind of fun.
Before we go into like the cast, I mean, maybe we should just go into the cast first, but no rules. Also, I'm like, I'm getting very nervous. Why am I nervous? Ooh, okay. Because I've been watching Bachelor in Paradise, and I was like, why haven't people from The Bachelor been on? Like, and then I looked to make sure I wasn't wrong, and I was, of course, wrong. Chase was on for one episode, and then they've had international Bachelorette people. But it is still bizarre that now, like, Chase being on confirms they could mine from this franchise somehow, and why they aren't mining from the Bachelorette pool for a season like this is bizarre to me.
Yeah, it is very odd that they've really never tapped into that pool, or really even like they did. I guess like Faith was on it for a couple of times, but they never really dipped into like the Bravo world that much. I feel like a lot of those people could be kind of fun. But yeah, those are like a couple of the key areas they never reached into. Obviously, because of like the Paramount connection, Survivor and Big Brother are the big ones. They love the UK people. I don't know. There's got to be some extra connection with like UK in the show. There's got to be some producers or something like that because they love the UK people to bring them over. So those are like the three main hubs that they are really pulling from.
Actually, maybe that makes sense as the distinction that they're really not reaching for U.S. shows on cable networks, but like on competing networks, right? Because they're pulling from Netflix, but they're not pulling from the U.S.
Right. Oh, the less Netflix. Netflix has like their own iterations of this stuff. So who knows what goes into the casting process? Maybe one day we'll get a chance to speak to someone and ask them some direct questions about that.
We say that like we've asked and it's been denied.
I also said that like it was like a super tease, like it's coming, and it's certainly not coming.
It's not coming. Well, if it was coming, it'd be coming from you. Right. All right. Well, so we find out that the show's going to open with a 5,479 foot scaling of a mountain up and down. And the winner and the vets and the threats are both going to take part in this. And the order you finish is going to let you move into the house in that order and pick your partner in that order. Do you like this, Brian?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, look, it's
end of podcast.
Yeah. It's, as TJ would say, throw out everything you know about the challenge. They've done this many times before. Of like some sort of like rookie challenge of picking the order. The twist here being it wasn't just the rookies picking. Like if a vet had finished first, like they would have had the first overall pick. It just kind of went down the line of if you finish first, you could pick the person who finished second. If they were like the same, like the opposite gender of opposite standing of you. But like the vets were in the same picking order, which was fun. I thought we would get a mention of it or a flashback to it of Rogan. Obviously, like he has had that many seasons to pick from, and like one of his more infamous things is like he was doing this and he was like purged out. Obviously, there was no purge doing it here in the premiere, but that was his like first time ever on the show was doing this and it was purged, and it wasn't mentioned. I thought we would get a flashback to that.
Yeah, I guess it's not that. Well, that would have been great. I feel like if they want to showcase the vets as these like strong powerhouses, it's not great to like flashback to like an abject failure.
Sure.
But no, it's definitely relevant. I mean, in the iterations we've seen of this, where they've done like a fresh meat combine, and then the vets get to pick from that era or something like that. I really like this. I liked that the vets and the threats had to compete in this, that it looked like a lot of the new school was upsetting the old school, and gave some power to just whoever finished first, not just like you said, putting the power in the hands of just the rookies or just the vets. It's also interesting that, like, and I can't remember every iteration, but at least I think in like the combine, was it known the order picked? I don't know. Whatever, if it was done or not before. I liked that they kind of knew who would be ahead of them in the order. Like, we didn't necessarily know because they only showed us like the first 8 or 9 finishers, but at least we saw conversations in the house of like Jake saying, I hope Olivia will fall to me, but there's like 3 people above him. So I thought that was like a fun thing to watch them like talk about and strategize, and that they got that time in the house to kind of have those conversations about, if I match up with Theo, I get Olivia, and like those kinds of strategic conversations.
Yeah, I really liked that they didn't do it right at the spot. Like you said, we got to see some really interesting, like thoughtful, intriguing thought processes of like how people were making picks. It wasn't just like, oh, this person for the second, so I'm going to pick them. It was wanting or not wanting a connection to Bananas, wanting a connection to Olivia, wanting the connection with Theo, like wanting these different outside pairs of like forming like a foursome quartet. Like there was a very interesting thought process to a lot of these decisions that I'm glad that they were able to show.
All right, so should we go through the interrogation? So laid over the mountain climb, we have each new threat being introduced by being interrogated by TJ Lavin, the man, the myth, the legend, and one of the creepiest shadowy figures of a vet coming out and saying, why are you here? Now, I actually meant to line this up, and other than D and Bananas, like, is the why are you here person they use the person who ends up being their partner?
No, and I thought that was going to be the case because it started with Cedric and like Anissa popped up. I was like, oh, that would be an interesting pairing. But then like I think CT's was for America, which of course I clocked. And like none of the other ones, I don't think any of them really lined up. Well, I guess D and Bananas lined up because Bananas was her pairing. But for the most, I don't think it had anything to do with it.
Well, because now actually Tay and America are introduced together, and
I think they were introduced together, but just like
Tay and CT end up
like they were just like an editing thing. I think they weren't like sitting next to each other.
No, I know, but I'm saying like, is there a connection? Like, no, you're right. Okay. Anyway, let's move on. But I'm my brain breaks. I'm like, I meant to look into it. So let's.
It was very fun. The interrogation setup. It was giving very much like Alan Cumming interviewing everyone, asking if they wanted to be a traitor. That was the first fun setup, and then even just like the creepy like why are you here thing, and it was the fun thing to see who took it seriously, but then also who didn't, and them allowing them to like enjoy the oddness of it. Like like for America, like when she saw CT, like she was like laughing like this is crazy, like I can't believe like CT's like looking at me, and T's like, it was very fun to see who was like playing around with it. And I liked that the show, when those people didn't take it seriously, they weren't like mocked for not taking it seriously. Like they played into it, like, yeah, this is like so over the top and like like a extra thing to do, and we can like laugh about it with you.
Yeah, totally. All right. Here's the story as we talk about these people. I skipped everyone on Big Brother because I figured you'll know who those people are and you could tell me about them. Everybody else, I did like an old school little deep dive, maybe a LinkedIn here and there.
Ooh, LinkedIn.
So let's talk about these people. Let's introduce the new vets. I'm gonna have a problem. Let's introduce the threats, starting with Cedric. My impression of not knowing anything about him is he seems like a little bit of a baby Kyland in that he like shows strong TJ fandom. He's excited to see TJ. He mentions that he's like a puzzle guy. He's underestimated, loyal, and meticulous. So I was like, Kyland vibes, but tell me about him on Big Brother.
So he's a surprising pick to see only because he's like a pre-juror from his season. I think he was out 3rd or 4th. So he didn't go very far. He was very popular, and I think he was a very popular winner pick, but he just like put trust that he volunteered himself at the block. Things took south, and they're like, oh, Cedric is on the block. He could win this whole thing. Let's just like vote him out. So things went very badly in that regard. But I think he has the right head on his shoulders to like learn from that mistake, and I think to do better. So I think he will be a very likable person now, so as he was in Big Brother. So I think he could do very well. He's not the biggest dude, so he's not like in regards to like comparing him to like a Kylan. Like he's like I think a pretty small guy in comparison. So if he's in a more like headbangery situation, that could be troublesome. But I think he's got a lot of the skill sets to do very well. Maybe like a new version of like a Kahada type vibe of like being likable and smart and like the straight man type amongst all the crazy. So I think he could do pretty well.
That's interesting. I like the idea of like a nice guy, strategic ne'er-do-well, like someone who volunteered themselves to the block and like ruined their own experience on Big Brother. Kind of coming in as a second chance here. Like, will he do a similar thing? Is he going to send himself into an elimination? Is he going to learn from that? Like, okay, I'm excited about Cedric. Brian, do you want to talk? Should we talk about the partnership here too, or you want to say
let's wrap it all in.
Okay.
I think it'll be easier just to combine it all. So Cedric was picked. Cedric picked
Olivia. Yeah, so
Cedric
he had the first,
the
second male pick overall.
The second male pick. Yeah. So So Jeremy picked Aviv. So Aviv was technically the first pick. Olivia, the second overall female vet pick. It's like 4 quadrants of like how you can be selected. So Olivia was picked there by Cedric, who finished third. Good for again showing off that he can do pretty well in these endurance things, finishing very close to the top. So a good, interesting pick for Cedric. He gets Olivia. Olivia's gonna be very interesting also one to watch because this is coming in. They did the flashback for her, and they jumped all the way back to her first season. Like they've completely washed the Michelle drama, the Nerys drama, because both of them aren't on this season, and like any of those connections aren't. So they're jumping back to golf ball hit in the face, Olivia, which is very interesting. So she's coming with much different connections, but seemingly like a decently high threat level amongst the women. So it'll be interesting to see how this new age Olivia stacks up.
Yeah, it's a perfect example of how we tell new viewers, for anyone who might be joining us for the first time, like they'll tell you what you need to know and they'll omit the information you don't need to know.
Right.
The biggest story socially for Olivia, I think, is that she's in a very serious relationship with Theo. And, while we were sleeping as a podcast, Olivia announced her pregnancy with Theo. So obviously that won't be a storyline on this season, but they're very, very serious as a couple. And so it's going to be, Olivia is a good pick physically, but she's also a good pick for social strategy reasons. And we see that conversation playing out where Izzy is really sussing out a relationship or a working alliance with Rogan, Adrian, Rogan, Taylor, Jake, Izzy. They want to bring in Olivia and Theo. Very interesting that Cedric kind of ruins this plan, but also probably sets himself up nicely by picking Olivia.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely options to like either sit in the middle or float in between if Cedric wants to go the more Big Brother route, or is okay jumping with the UK crowd with Olivia and Theo. So it's an interesting pick.
Okay, watch me. This is what happens. A 10-year professional does a podcast.
We're getting a transition here. I'm excited.
No. Let's flip the script. I mean, it happens to be the next person line anyway, but let's actually just go by who's picking and so who finished the challenge order.
Okay.
And I'll work on the fly to go back and forth in my multiple pages of professional notes. So, Jeremy from The Amazing Race, season 35. He really is showcased in episode 0 as the dominant physical competitor of this challenge. It took him an hour and 22 minutes. This is no joke, just in general, in this challenge. No. But he dominated the physical challenge. He looks very physically dominant. He gives very serious answers to TJ. He's a former U.S. Marine. He's an ultra marathon runner. He likes working in a team, but he can be very frustrated. Jordan, second coming of Jordan, perhaps. Mm-hmm. So he goes with the first pick overall. He picks Aviv.
Yes. And it's very interesting because, I mentioned with the Rogan when he climbed up the hill and he crashed out and was purged. Also debuting in that season, very similar here to Jeremy, was Joss. And it was basically the same type of thing. He like dominated the hill climb. He's like thought of as like a new Thor. Was, idolized by all the men, wanted by all the women. Like he was like the top of the line, and that's kind of like what we're getting here with Yarmy. Like he dominated this challenge. Every guy is now completely threatened by him, and he lays out a very interesting pick. Normally, you would see like, oh, you see Kara on a season, like, oh, Kara's got to be the first overall pick, but this is someone who obviously has some idea of what's happening in the challenge world on 40 with Aviv's new like revelation. This was my first screwed up word of the season. We're back, people. Her return to the show, I guess. And her new connection with Bananas. And he's like, I don't want Bananas gutting for me. I want to kind of be working with him. So I'm gonna pick Aviv to get my in with Johnny.
Yeah, and how much of that pick do you think is informed by the fact that Jeremy is aware of this, but also people are telling him in conversation in between the finish and the pick, like a huge target's going to be on your back. So he really has to make a social pick. I think he probably would have picked Aviv either way for the same reasons if he finished fifth or if he finished first. But I think if you've got to make a social pick, the only other person that might be better than Aviv is Anani, but from a physical perspective, I think Aviv is a perfect mix of someone physically, capable and dominant, and somebody who's got deep social connections.
Yeah, and he was, a good self-reflection of his own skill set, saying like, I want someone who's like good at puzzles, good at thinking, good at strategy, and that's like not something that I thrive at. So I think Nani would have been a difficult pick, I think, for that. So I think Aviv is kind of makes a lot of sense here.
It's interesting because Jeremy and one other contestant we're going to talk about both competed. So he competed with his brother on The Amazing Race. And I was finding it very interesting, like how that dynamic is in like one of you gets picked for the challenge when I guess both of you could have been in contention.
Right.
And then I guess I don't know why I'm acting like it's a spoiler or a teaser. Tay actually won Big Brother Australia as a duo with her sister. They both won because they were playing as one player. So again, very strange. Like I wonder if their siblings were in casting and got cut,
right,
or how that worked.
Very interesting. Again, I'll jot that one down for the casting team when I get the one-on-one with them about how this went down.
Or maybe the contestants. I don't know if you're interviewing this season. It's like a question for them.
Oh, Jeremy, how did you get on and not your brother? Talk me through that. That's my bad question. I'll save that.
The winner overall, the good segue is sort of like, what was it like not being with your sibling built in here? Like you kind of come in with an ally on a duo show. But Izzy wins for the women, picks Theo in lockstep with Olivia. Did you watch Too Hot to Handle? Show Izzy's from?
I didn't. I watched like the first ever one with that like Harry guy, whatever that weird guy is. I watched the first one.
Harry,
yeah. I have not watched it since.
I watched Izzy's season. I also watched her in Perfect Match. I think she's great. I think this was like a really good just representation of her. She's very bubbly. She's clearly physically very strong. I think she's doing great social work from what we've seen. But I don't know. What do you think about Theo going first overall for the men?
It's interesting because if this was pre-champagne injury Theo, I think it would make all the sense in the world. Like Theo almost won the season at Turbo One, which was very highly regarded as the most difficult final ever done. But then when Theo's come back, he hasn't really seemingly been the same, like both from an entertainment factor, which I could just be an editing choice, but even from a performance factor, he hasn't done all that much to set himself aside. So this feels like more like you get more social capital out of him than maybe you even necessarily realize, but less physical connection, unless Theo's like really now put in like extra work in the offseason coming back for 41. But it seems like Theo should be better than he is, and maybe he'll prove people wrong this season. But he hasn't been the same since he almost won the season like 4 or 5 years ago now.
So the interesting thing to me about the collection of male vets is, I don't want to say wash, no shit, but like it's not to me like there is like a dominant all around lightning in a bottle first pick, right? CT, what becomes a storyline for him in episode 0 is he's coming back, dad CT, he's not coming back at the top of his physical game. Bananas kind of finishes in the top, the middle third of the pack or the bottom of the top third of the pack. I'm not here to do math. Turbo, while maybe physically potentially dominant, is a huge social liability. And so for Izzy, I'm sort of like, a lot of them are in the same tier for me as like reasonable first picks with some baggage, with some risk. And what Theo has is that connection to Olivia, like ride or die built in. The only criticism I can make of the move is like, perhaps she'd have that connection anyway as she like builds and fortifies the UK alliance. But obviously the best way to do that is to partner up with him. Rogan, we see making moves, physical moves, politicking. Loved Ashley coming in with the politicking graphic to try to get selected by Izzy. We haven't seen Rogan in a long time. I think he also might be up there as someone you could pick physically, but like from Izzy's perspective, she probably already has him in his pocket if they're going to be in a relationship. No need to partner up.
No, that's exactly what I was thinking too, and I'm surprised Rogan almost should have clocked it, but he maybe he did separately, but he should have. Like if you're already going to partner up, like like separate your stuff. It would be like if like Olivia and Theo wouldn't want to like pair together. Like we've seen it with Cam and Leroy. Like when they were on together all the time, they usually tried to like separate themselves in certain situations to like double their votes and double their chances in different regards, and expand their alliance building, and especially right when you have to start, like it make no sense to do so, especially if the relationship, like also the relationship started for like 2 hours, and what if it goes horribly south and now you're like partnered together? So it's probably better to like not move in together after the first date. So I think it's probably better this way.
Just two there's gonna be 4 people's ages I'm gonna call out this episode just for no reason. Rogan 35, Izzy 26. So for future Bananas 43, D 28. It's like watching Bachelor in Paradise this season where the Goldens are on with the young hotness cast.
I do, just going back to like the male first pick. Like I know he finished last, but like if you're a fan of the show at all, you have to know we've seen this story before. Like this is what CT always does. Like it is so widely known that CT doesn't necessarily train in the offseason. He uses the first half of seasons to train, and then he gets himself in shape for the second half and the final. So I know he's like, if you could guarantee that, like CT should be like, would be the first overall pick, but I think it goes to show some of like the lack of knowledge of this world, because if people knew that, the fact that CT was almost actually might have been the last pick or like the second to last pick for the actually no, yeah, it was the last guy pick, is insanity. And if you want like social capital, social standing, CT is always the most like guy in the house. He's never targeted. He befriends everyone. And he's a great, I mean, you get the pro tips like firsthand. You don't have to wait for the edited version of the television show to hear them. So that I think should have been like the first overall pick.
So one thing just to highlight, it's not like, and I know you're not saying this, but just like the way, as you said, there's like 4 quadrants of like how someone could be picked or picked. There's only a few vets that got picked over CT because like Derek, Turbo, Bananas, they all finished in time to pick somebody. So it's not like every male vet got picked over him. Is it likely that they would have? Like, probably. Is it still shocking that there would be 4 people picked over CT in any given season? Yes, but it's Theo, Leroy, and Rogan are the only people who actually get picked before CT goes. The other guys had picks that come up beforehand.
Sure, that's fair. That is fair.
And then it's like the Theo thing. I understand why Izzy picked him. Should you pick CT over Rogan? Like maybe. But Leroy, I'm never going to say you've got to pick CT over Leroy.
You're never going to say that? Or you're never not?
I'm never going to say that. No, I mean, not in this situation, right? Like, would I rather have fit Leroy over a Dragon CT after seeing the mountain thing? Probably.
Really?
Probably.
Okay. Good for Leroy then.
Really right. Just because, like, imagine being there to give Leroy his win.
Sure, that would be great. But also, it's like Leroy's never gonna win. So.
All right, so let's go back up to the top. This is where we should have talked about Cedric and Olivia. Good on them. Let's talk about Sydney. The name on everyone's, or really the 500 people who use Twitter's lips, is Sydney from Survivor. She tells TJ, I'm known for like swimming. I don't remember that.
I remember her more for what she follows up with, like being like the cocky personality and, you know, attempted humor person. That's more what I remember her for. But sure, she's a great swimmer, which is great.
It's really funny because I went to her Survivor bio, like when she was on the season. She says, as you said, the 3 words that'll describe her are candid, cocky, and funny. That's what she tells TJ. In the Survivor interview on CBS.com, they also asked her that. And at that time, she said confident, charismatic, and empathetic. A lot has changed for young Sydney as she's gone through the reality TV machine.
It's also maybe feeding to like a certain crowd. I think maybe the Survivor crowd would want more of those characteristics, and the challenge crowd is more looking for like the cocky Sydney. Would have more embraced that. I feel like Sydney was not well liked by a certain segment of the audience on her time on Survivor. I think that type of personality would fit more on the challenge, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I think she has now, at the time she filled out this challenge, the Survivor questionnaire, I think she was still hoping to be, as you said, liked by the audience. I think now in 2025, Sydney has embraced being hated by the audience and constantly retweets like hatred she gets and is like very love me or hate me. It's still an obsession kind of vibes. I think what's going to be interesting is like she's coming in with a male attitude, right? She's coming in with a Wes Bananas attitude. Like, my shit, not only does it not stink, but it should be bottled and sold as perfume. Like, she's like, I didn't need to prepare for this challenge. I'm here not to deprive the world of getting to know me, which is basically philanthropy to be here. I mean, it's iconic. I'm not saying it's good or bad. It is iconic, and I am personally happy to see a woman show up with male vet energy. I don't know. The audience hates her. I don't know, like the like vocal audience. I don't know how this is going to go over in the challenge house.
Yeah, it's also look, she's a big personality, but she's now in a house surrounded by a lot of bigger personalities. So I think it's easy for her to say like she's this version when she's doing the interrogation with TJ. I'm curious to see if it plays on television. I could like I think there's a chance she's like swallowed up by storylines of other people, and we might not even get her that much. I also don't like her pairing with Leroy. It's not. I don't see them doing that great. I don't know. They don't seem to like balance each other. Obviously, like sitting with the swimming, Leroy without, but they're both physical people. So I don't know how they'll do in like more like the puzzle strategy portions of challenges. So I just don't think they're a great pairing. So I hope we don't. I hope Sydney doesn't get like forgotten about in the house.
Yeah, I mean, we get a little bit of a peek into how the house is reacting to her. It comes from Naya, who's, you know, someone who's also had their challenges with the audience. Sydney to me is bringing Laurel energy, which again, we saw how Laurel was perceived in the last few seasons. And the difference between a big, you know, male veteran coming in with this attitude is like, in a certain respect, it's been earned, right? Sydney has not shown anything to us. So maybe that will rub people the wrong way. But Naya is like, your attitude has made everyone uncomfortable in a good way. Like, Naya is into it. So I don't know if that's the metric for the house. But we do get an edit that both for Sydney and D, like there's a lot of like eyes. What's this called? Side eye. What's it called? When you move your eyes to the side, side eye around the sort of strong and mysterious Survivor women. I actually think that's terrible for D to be like grouped in with Sydney. But we'll see how that goes. As far as Sydney and Leroy, you know, I don't know what being a lawyer means about anything, but like Sydney is not academic at all, right? So like, does she have puzzle ability? Obviously remains to be seen. But like more than if she were like an influencer, maybe there's a slight positive in the Leroy and Sydney column. I think where they do balance each other out is like everyone loves Leroy. So like needing someone to fill like a social gap. He's not great at strategy, but like could Sydney be the Devin, like be the brains, and Leroy be the social muscle. I agree. I think they're going to be an early out, but like maybe they'll like the audience will have the ultimate like I'm rooting for Leroy, but I don't like Sydney, and what do I do about it? Experience for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, like obviously Leroy's super likable, but it's also there's not a lot of like his people here. Like it's just bananas, and like that could go like sideways quick, or it could be like a super helpful thing. But like it's just him and Nani, and like Nani doesn't really want to clearly like work with bananas. So like if his two people are kind of like going against each other, that's not like the best thing. But like Cam's not here. A lot of people from like his era of the time are not here unless he has like some other secret Vegas connections that sometimes randomly pop up on seasons that we're not aware of. But other than that, like I don't think him and like Rogan and Theo and like I don't think he's like close with these people. And it's like so I don't know where the social bonds get him all too much.
Right. And even looking at people he could be connected to, like Nani's partner is not connected to anyone else. Bananas is with D, and that's the same. They're drawing on the same connection. So they don't even have like their second and third degrees of separation in with, good groups. So we'll see. Okay. Who is after Sydney? Oh, so Jake's up next from Love Island UK season 7. I'm not up to my notes yet, but I think that was it.
Yes, that is correct.
You a Love Island guy?
I'm not. I watched one episode of the US version this time, and I saw enough to see like the I'm a mommy conversation. But that was it.
So you watched one episode in like the middle of the season?
Yeah, that's all.
Okay. So I've watched the season of Love Island UK. I'm watching the current season of Love Island UK, and I will not tell you how quickly I caught up to 44 episodes. But I started speaking British. I was like, I talked to my boyfriend. I was like, "Hey, bruv, like, where are we going with this?" Like, and it's like, sorry, I've been watching Love Island for 4 days straight. But like Love Island like washes over me. So I didn't remember him. I looked into it, and then I remembered him. He was partnered up with this woman named Liberty, and basically like ended up quitting right before the end because like the UK didn't like believe that they were a real couple, and it just like incepted them, and they were like, I guess we're not going to work out, and he left the show. One thing I did pull that I thought was hilarious and totally irrelevant to this conversation, but I will read it, this never stopped me before, is Jake's dad was quoted in an article, Digital Spy. He like maybe put this somewhere else, but I saw it in Digital Spy. And it says, so Jake, because you're on, for anyone who doesn't watch Love Island, you're there for weeks, and the show's happening live like Big Brother. Right. So like the country, the world, whatever is responding to what you're doing on the show, but you can't see and you can't respond. So family members of people on the show are like defending their loved one. So his dad said, there's no motive, he clarified to press before adding that Jake was genuine and, quote, a nice lad. Defending his son further from the, quote, vile comments that he'd received while in the villa, he continued, they just see him on the telly and think that he's in it for the money, or he's a bit of a snake. And, I'm not being horrible to Jake, but he's not intelligent enough to have a game plan. So if that's his dad's read, I don't know how he's going to do on the challenge.
And so he's partnered with Cara, and she's also not sometimes the brightest bulb in the show when it comes to like doing important things in like the challenge when it comes down to puzzles. So look, if you put them in a physical thing, they could be. It seems like Jake might just be like the male version of Cara to a degree. So that could go very, very well, or it could go very, very poorly.
But you were talking about Joss, and I had this thought versus Jeremy, but like, is Jake popcorn muscles or is Jake real muscles? So like, Joss is popcorn muscles. I think Jeremy is like, rock climber lean, so like he's like actually like a Jordan kind of person. Sometimes like the big muscly dude, I'm like, big tree fall hard.
Yeah, I mean, look, you did well here, but this is not like testing the popcorn muscle theorem. So let's get him out there on the first daily and see how he does.
I'm a professor of popcorn muscleology. Yeah, I don't know about them as a pairing. I'm trying to think of how I feel about the Cara Maria pick. Because, like, to be honest, like, I can never recall where we've left off socially with Cara Maria, especially in the last few seasons since she's been back. Like,
Yeah.
and this filmed after the last All Stars aired, right? I mean, I don't know that Jake was like set, but
And didn't this also, I think, didn't they go out the film like a week after Cara got in like a lot of hot water with some tweets? I feel like there was like some right wing like scary stuff she was tweeting like a week before they went out. I'd be stunned if that is brought up in the episodes. But if she's like an outcast early, I wonder, or maybe in the know early, which is some of these people, I wonder how much that plays into the house.
I know Sydney about to be like, let's link up. But also like for the people dragging the Republican women, like be out here dragging your male faves.
Right.
But yeah, I that is interesting. I forgot about that. I forget, like, we talked about this on our All Stars podcast, right? Because it was the whole Ryan Kehoe versus Cara thing.
Exactly.
So impossible to remember the timeline. But yeah, it's like it seems like Jake's making just like a she's good pick. Like Cara Maria is like sort of a name of the challenge. I'm trying to think, like, I'd pick Cara over Millionaire Mitchell from just a well-rounded perspective. I think of like how
look, it's very hard to disagree with picking Cara because, like, in certain situations, she's like the best female to ever compete on the show in certain situations. So it's hard to be too upset about someone picking Cara at any point.
I'm just looking at who was even left. It's like Michaela, Ashley, Nani, Anissa, and Naya were the other options. So like, I'm picking Cara
easy.
there too.
Yeah, easy.
Yeah, you could be your dad could think you're a dummy and you're picking Cara.
Right.
I just love that. Shout out to Jake's dad.
Jake sees muscles, Jake picks. Like that's probably what the logic he was going with.
Let's talk about Michaela, who's back. I'm really happy to see Michaela back. We see her already in the mix. Interesting strategy. She's chatting up Jeremy. Again, the most dominant male performer or just any performer overall in this challenge. And she's working on convincing him not to pick her. This is such a Michaela strategic move.
It's certainly an interesting thought process. Look, I get it. She doesn't want like that smoke early, but also if Jeremy is as good as he seems, like you might just be able to steamroll people and you just like win the show. It also would have been interesting to have her also have the thought process of like, well, these pairs usually change a lot, so maybe I just won't be paired with them now and I can get them later, which certainly seems like it could be something that could happen. But I get it, but also like you would want to have the best partner you could possibly have.
Yeah, I totally disagree with Michaela's philosophy on this. Like, if I think Nani does a confessional where she's just like, I would love Jeremy to pick me, like everyone wants to be with him, or Viv says something like that. I think Michaela sometimes overworks the strategy early on in the challenge, and I don't think this is gonna like bite her like the list did, but I think this was overworked. Also, like, I think it's very unlikely he's going to select her. She's not like a well-known name. She didn't perform in the top of the women. And in worst case scenario, you're talking to the strongest guy in the house or the best performer in the house, and he's going to catch a whiff that you don't want to be with him, and he's not going to like you. You know, like on the most micro level, I just think that was a weird move for her. And then she picks Will from Are You the One? Season 9, the international edition. Whoop. I am happy to see them go back to someone from Are You the One? Is Will in the top 1,000 people I would pick from Are You the One? Yeah, maybe 1,000, but not in the top 50.
Right. The problem, though, for her is kind of go in the same regard is like who is available. Like the rookie men were like the boom, 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 the top of the picks. Like Jeremy picked Cedric. What much you want to say about him? He made a selection. Jake made a selection. So that's 3 right there. Like there would be what, like 8 total, I guess, of rookie men pick, and the rest of them don't seem to be all that great. Like Justin and Leo were like all the way at the end. Like they don't seem to be like the highest quality of selection. So I do think she was kind of caught between a rock and a hard place about who of like the rookie men she could end up with.
I have no problem with Will as the pick. Like we really don't learn much about him. He's like a U.S. Marine veteran.
A lot of Marines. I caught that. There was like 3 or 4 people that all said that they were in the Marines. I wonder if that's something that's going to come up. It's like, oh,
that's
you were in the Marines. I wonder if we should all work together because they all. I mean, obviously the show makes a point to show what they want to show, and they all had that be included, and then including like the backstory, the images. Like it seemed to be a very heavy part of a lot of people's story.
Check off service. Yeah, that's interesting. But like, I didn't have a problem with him like as just like a general pick. I'm more criticizing him as a pick of it from a casting perspective of like the people on Are You the One that they could have pulled from. And then I was like, who have they even pulled recently from Are You the One? And it's like Amber, obviously like Nerys, excellent pick. Like, so it's not like they haven't had anyone from Are You the One recently, but I also think like the queer season of Are You the One was so groundbreaking and so interesting and had so many characters, cast members, whatever, that I remember a long time later. And I wonder if they didn't want to wade into like the male female teams for non-binary folks. I hope that's not the case. Unless contestants did not want to participate. Sure. That's fine. But I just think there are a lot of interesting people left in the Are You the One casting pool that they have not drawn from, and I don't understand why. So I was happy to see them go back to the Are You the One well, but I don't, maybe Will will surprise us. So will be the most dynamic, interesting person on this season. But
justice for Kiki. Won't see her, but justice for Kiki.
I one day we need to discuss how being a podcaster for Are You the One was like truly the weirdest experience of all time. Like that was like very strange. It is very strange to podcast about a show that like nobody else is talking about, and so the cast members like FaceTime you. Like it's very like
and their parents.
Like and relatives, haters, family haters.
It was like Jake's dad writing articles about it. Like, we were getting the articles directly.
That said, we were not podcasting during Will's season. So I tried to find information about Will, and I basically couldn't find anything. But what I did find is one of my like low-key favorite things in the world is Are You the One cast members who get married? And like no one talks about it because like who would care or talk about it? But do you remember Callie and Tomas?
I mean, offhand, the names, no. But if I look up images of them.
Here, I'll send you the link. They got married in 2022 in the Electric Forest.
What the heck is
and
the
they're still together.
Forest? Is that?
Oh, it's like an EDM festival in like the woods.
That's wow. Okay,
slay. Like there are like a shocking amount of Are You the One people who have gotten married. Like almost none to their perfect match. But
yeah, I was gonna say, I assume they were not perfect matches, right?
They were not. I think Amber, Diamond, and Ethan were they were perfect. I think like they were the perfect matches who got married, and it was season 1. Like incredible luck for the show, and then not again.
Unbelievable. Yeah, never again. They've had other pairings get together, which is good, but not perfect matches.
Yeah, we need Are You the One in Paradise? Because I know they've done like Little Spin-offs, but like that would produce just a bajillion marriages. Cosign.
That'd be great.
Can you cosign yourself? Like I just said something and then I said cosign. That was weird.
Cosign. I cosign.
So then we get to Bananas, and Bananas picks D. D is the last rookie threat, new whatever, to be introduced. I feel like there is a lot of hype, at least in these Survivor streets, for D being cast on the challenge. And I'll just say from this episode 0, not that I didn't think it before, D is electric challenge casting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and D's going to be a part of our lives now for a while, because obviously, again, spoiler alert, I guess if you don't want to know season 40s for Survivor, but not season 40, season 50 for Survivor, but she's going to be popping up on that right after this. So it's going to be very interesting to see a whole lot of two very different Ds. I think we're going to get. I think we're going to get a lot more of a fun D in the challenge world. I think she's perfect for this spot. It's going to be very interesting to see her and Bananas interact. I think they're going to be a very interesting duo, and it's going to bring out a fiery side of D that we only got to see a taste of, I feel like, on time on Survivor, but I think we're going to get a lot more of it now, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I think I enjoyed Sydney's like intentional put on, almost like Mistress Isabel Brooks for Drag Race fan style of just like over the top, bullshit with TJ, but like D, I think the banter is similar, but comes across more genuine and is backed up, right? She won her season. So she's doing good, playful, cocky kind of banter with TJ, but I think it comes off more likable. Yeah. So, but like, it's, I'm trying to fight the urge to be like, D's nuts, she's willing to like mess around TJ, but I didn't have the balls, so to speak.
But I it's interesting you bring that up because I do wonder, like she did, I think she was the On Fire co-host with Probst for like entire season. So I do wonder, like her gaining that rapport with Probst, if that like brings TJ down to like her level almost, where she feels like buddy with him, because she just did this with another like reality TV show host with Probst. So I think she kind of just has that rapport now with people. She's able to just like jump right in and be making like funny jokes with TJ, right off the cuff, like she's ready to go.
Oh, see, I thought you were gonna like yes and my D's nuts thing. I was getting so excited, but you just yada made a good point.
It's episode 0 for us too.
What do you think of the Bananas laying it on thick? I did LOL when Bananas came out of the shadows, and instead of saying, "Why are you here?" after 16, "Why are you here?" he's like, "Do you have a boyfriend?"
That was funny. I did chuckle at that. It really feels like this season, TJ says, like, forget everything you know about the challenge. It just feels like it's playing like the greatest hits, because this feels very reminiscent of him and Natalie from Big Brother when she came on the scene, and like he was like super into it right away. Like that was like his first season single after the long relationship with what's her name, Hannah, I think it was, I don't know, but like after that relationship, and he was really into Natalie, and like this is giving very much like that with D, even like speaking the different language, like trying to like speak like Spanish to D now and stuff like he's like jumping right into like the playbook he had with Natalie.
Was it similar with Mariah too? Like, I feel like when Bananas decides he wants to flirt, like he flirts.
Mm-hmm.
It's getting a little icky, only because I'm just like, bro. I guess it's better now because D is so far out of his league, and he's like, it's not like seeing a young woman like try to be with him, and then you're like, is there like a power weird dynamic where like Bananas is the king of the house? Like, Bananas still like in the top status. Like, I'm not disrespecting Bananas, but he's not as dominant in the same way where like now it's like he's reaching, he was always reaching in terms of like, whatever value, appearance, whatever, like leagues. He was always well within Lash theory, but it just like, it's always like sad, like watching this like old man pine for this like stunningly beautiful 28-year-old woman. But the dynamic is fun. Like if D's having fun, I'm having fun. I think this is a really fun partnership. And I like that D is smart and strategic enough to know that like she didn't want to be with Bananas. Like she's like, I kind of want to distance myself from him. But since they're a partnership, I think it's going to be really fun because she's not just going to like blindly follow him. I feel like she's going to have a lot to contribute in her own right. So I think that's a fun pair to watch.
And that feels like the difference in the Natalie thing. Natalie was very much just like deer in headlights following along with whatever he wanted to do, as much as like she tried to pretend like she wasn't. Like that's what she was doing. Like D is like, yeah, I'll play along with this, but like I'm in charge here. But he could think he's in charge, but I'm really the dominant. I had the hand in this relationship, and I think that would be a very, very, very fun situation.
Yeah, totally. Then based on the finish we saw, because we saw Bananas and Turbo skip hand in hand, I thought Turbo would be next, but Adrienne is next from Married at First Sight UK. I did a spit take because I was just like, wow, we are really reaching into like if you were on a segment of the news, we could grab you and put you on the show.
Yeah, I didn't think we'd get an MAFS person popping up on here, but you know what? I think Adrian's gonna like she's part of like the UK world. She's gonna be in the mix. We got the connection to Rogan. I think Rogan might just shift his attention from Izzy to her. Why not? So I think it's an interesting pick, but sometimes the most out there picks that the challenge does could have like the biggest upside because a lot of people are going in completely fresh with her. So I'm gonna hold out. I'm holding space for optimism here for her.
Love that. Love and light for Married at First Sight. Yeah, she's the one where like maybe she should have picked CT over Rogan and that she already was in the UK alliance. Like, is he expanding her social circle? No. You know, having CT like a link with CT into sort of the challenge proper, like not challenge proper, the like US challenge vets might have been interesting. It also might have been interesting because she like went on a huge weight loss journey, right? She like says she's inspirational. Yep. When I tell you I watched this 1,000 times, she said tactical. I don't know what she said as her second word, and she's a touch of glam, which TJ had fun with. So like that might have been an interesting dynamic with her and CT working together.
I do think the accent thing is fair. I do think like if you want to have like good communication, like if you know someone might not understand you, she was like, I want someone who can understand me, understand my accent. Go with Rogan. So I understand the logic there.
CT definitely wouldn't have been able to understand. That's fair. Like the Boston meets UK accents.
That's probably like very, very polarizing accents.
Okay, so then Turbo picks like low-key bad news for your girl. I know it's a Brian's favorite, so I won't say anything about America. I'll let you get to it. But I think Turbo picked her just because like her name is America.
I think so, 100%. I think that's exactly what it was. And you say bad news. I would say this is probably as good as a pick you could probably hope for America, because I think America coming to the season, I don't think she was just coming here to have a good time, do the best she can, but I don't think there was any expectations that she had that she could like win this show. I do think, like, I think even she notes it. Like, Turbo picking me, like, I have a shot at this. Like, if this is Turbo, like, Turbo in, like, his, like, runs was, like, the most dominant male on the show. And, like, if you have him as a partner, and it's not like, I don't think there's going to be as level of a hatred for Turbo that we've seen before of people, like, completely conspire to get him out, at least in the early going. We don't really see that. Like, we see Turbo and Bananas, like, joking along together. So, if Turbo is at all likable, this is as good of a pick I think you could possibly have for someone like America. It's gonna be very difficult for her to deal with Turbo, but she's now in the game. Like, I think coming in America had like one of the like a very low percentage of win. Like, that is now up. Like, she is in the mix of like on the poly market betting side. Like, she's in the mix now to like win this season.
That's fair. See, I'm jumping around my notes. What I said for his bummer for your boy is she got the yada yada treatment, being the first one introduced with the second person. But
sure.
But I still think in my brain Turbo is a liability. Even though he's had sort of improved social dynamics last season. I know he was still fighting with people, but like, you know, whatever. So yeah, I mean, maybe it'll work out. I think maybe something to look out for is I do think Turbo is the most like the most threatening physical guy, or at least in the top 2 or 3 physical guy on the vet side. And America is not that threatening as on the woman's side. I don't know how the eliminations are going to go, but like if there's a way to like, if they want to take a shot at, if the UK alliance, let's say, wants to take a shot at the US or the non-UK non-alliance, they could be vulnerable there.
Totally.
Not that anyone wants to go in against Turbo, but like seeing depending on how the elimination works.
No, there's plenty of ways this could turn right and go south for America very quickly. But like if she's, you know, partnered with like a Leroy, like there's no up, like they're not winning together. But like she's partnered with potentially the strongest male in the entire house, and actually it's even better now that there's like a super strong rookie male like that is now going to get all the attention, at least in the early going. So America's got a chance. Fellow RHAP podcaster got a chance.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you're interested, check out the AmeriCorey. They're not calling it that. Big Brother Unlocked on Fridays on RHAP. Yeah, I don't know. You going to talk to America this season? You feel like we should have some network to network synergy. I don't think
I
we
would
do.
hope so. Although hopefully I'm not talking
But
to her until like, December or something.
yeah. But check that out. Okay, shout out us. Co-sign my own comment. All right. So then next up is Ashley Millionaire Mitchell. Very under-edited in episode 0, although most of the vets were because we were there to get to know the new threats. But Millionaire Mitchell picks Will, not who she meant. She meant Gabe, but she called him Will.
Just an unbelievable classic moment from Ashley. So emphatic, calling out the wrong name to the point where I'm now not going to know his name for the rest of the season. I hope the show kind of plays into that when having his name like in like the bottom left every time he's on screen. I think his name his name is actually Gabe. So I hope that's I hope they play into that. But it's a very funny moment for Ashley. I also love that they really like. I obviously they should. Politicking was her thing. But it's like that's gonna be like her long lasting. Like she's gonna have Millionaire Mitchell and politicking. That's like as good of a legacy as like you could ever have on the history of the show. Like Ashley is like entrenched in this world forever.
And getting kicked out of the real world and being suspended from the challenge. But yeah, no, definitely politicking and Millionaire Mitchell. No, it's true. Gabe is an interesting one though, because like literally, like if I said Adrian was the example of you can be on the news, you can be on the show, Gabe really should have been the example because they say he used to be a professional rugby player, then he was in the WWE, then he was in the military. He's a culture determined freak. And he's sort of reclaiming the word freak from his bullies. Very excited to be on the challenge. I looked into Gabe a little bit, and we might need Mari and Matt Scott to weigh in on this. But according to WrestlingInc.com, wrestling fans may not be familiar with him because a former college rugby player and Army Reserve, Way was signed by WWE in 2022, but there's no record. No cage match record, and a search on IMDb shows he only made 2 appearances on this NXT show before he was let go by the promotion. So he really like wasn't on. He was like signed by the WWE, but like benched. I don't know. So like to me, I'm gonna twist that and say Gabe must be excellent television because they cast him with like almost 0 appearances on television.
He really must have like now some sort of like call or interview or something. But yeah, it is surprising to see him popping up here.
He is the fresh meat. You want a fresh meat? It's Gabe. Start rooting for him.
Like Ashley's gonna chew him up and spit him out. It's gonna be a tough going for Gabe here.
Well, maybe he'll get like a metal chair or something. It'll be he'll get his first match. Derek and Leica. The right here, right now, no qualifications, no reservations. This is my winner pick. This team, this is my favorite team. I think I really should have written down how to pronounce it. Leica. I will know next week. I apologize in advance. It's been a long podcast already. She, I think, fell criminally low in the draft, and I think Derek scored a huge pick with her. I'm really, really excited about this pair. I think this pairing's going to mean business.
I got to be honest. When you said this is my pick, I thought this is how contrasting views I have. I thought you were going to say this is my first out pick. I thought, this is going to be an easy first out. They have no chance. Winner pick. I love it. I feel like you get good odds there.
I liked it just when I watched the show, but then when I did a little research on what Canada's Ultimate Challenge is, Canada's Ultimate Challenge is like the challenge-esque. Like it's a scavenger hunt through Canada, and like I watched a little bit of a clip, and they had to like climb a rope, and somebody had to go run and pull a sandbag, and they had to launch a cannon, and like so it's sort of a version of challenge-esque challenges more than sort of like Amazing Race would be. And she came in second place. She made it to the final, her team. So I think she's got physical ability. I think she came off likable when we saw her. I think Derek is like a really well-experienced player. If she tells me she's known for being the villain and she's feisty, like I'm all in on the entertainment and physical prowess for Leica.
They do seem very contrasting personalities because like Derek is not like he's not really like the villain. He's like always been like the scrappy, likable underdog. So match him with like a contrasting woman who's like, you know, ready to get down and dirty and be the villain. I did maybe not bring out the best in Derek because someone needs to bring out the best in Derek.
I did ask ChatGPT, or I think Google's whatever. I was lazy. I just put it into Google. And what are they? Gemini? What do they do? Who's their girl? Who's their
Gemini?
Okay.
Yeah, sure. Gemini.
Okay. So whatever. I asked them what is more physically demanding? Canada's Ultimate Challenge, MTV's The Challenge, or The Amazing Race? Do you want to guess what they said?
I guess based off this challenge, like Canada's Amazing Race would be Canada's Ultimate Challenge would be the.
No. Shout out, MTV's The Challenge seems to be the most consistently physically demanding of the three, with its focus on extreme stunts and intense physical confrontations. Canada's Ultimate Challenge presents a wider variety of physical challenges across diverse terrain, requiring a blend of strength, endurance, adaptability, and then The Amazing Race is like endurance and fortitude. So I think, you can't touch the challenge, but Canada's Ultimate Challenge, maybe the Challenge Junior.
Okay, all right. The chip has been placed, Derek and Leica.
Yeah, exactly. And worst case scenario, good likelihood of getting a spot at Challenge Mania events.
Can't hurt to butter up.
All right, a team that might be on my chip of going home first next. Nani picks Ben.
Mm-hmm.
And like, who the F is Ben?
And Nani, this is not great for Nani. Nani has two relationships in this house that are really strong theoretically with Leroy and with Johnny Bananas, and she seemingly wants to just toss that one of them away, wants nothing to do with Johnny, because what has Bananas ever done for her besides bring her to a final, finish second, protect her for a decade of seasons, build her into many different alliances, and nearly get her a win? But other than that, he's really just done nothing for her. So toss that aside, and she's going to play this game with nobody. So that's going to be the Nani playbook.
Now, again, Nani was picking between Ben and Justin from Cheer. So, like, I guess whatever on that. All I know about Ben is the one who I went to his LinkedIn, because if Ben's going to introduce himself by his job as like he's here because he's a commentator, then I'm going to take it to your professional profile and see what you have to say. All he tells us is he's here to prove that he's gritty. That's me doing my little gritty in the box. But he's like a boxer / sports commentator. But do you know this guy?
I've never heard of him before in my life.
Okay,
I'm not a big boxing guy to be fan. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I would ask Akiva. Do you think Akiva knows who he is?
Does Akiva, this feels like Who Weekly. Does Akiva know who Ben is? Do you think Ben knows who Akiva is? Is he familiar with, two-time Emmy award-winning researcher Akiva Winnikers? His LinkedIn about, I'm always striving to be the hardest working person I know. Which, like, you could just say, like, the hardest working person. Like, capping it to, maybe he doesn't know anyone. Then you win.
Right.
I currently provide play-by-play commentary for Misfits and DAZN X Series former UFC champion Anthony Pettis' MMA promotion, APFC on UFC Fight Pass, and also serve as a PXP for Bull TV. I have stepped outside the broadcast booth, and I was going to be like, the challenge? No, to compete against UFC legend Anderson Silva's son at X Series 9, as well as having competed in karate combat and BKFC, parentheses, bare knuckle boxing. As with anything, I make the most of it. I do know Anderson Silva because I'm going to text my brother and see if he knows this guy, because he's in all this alphabet of boxing and stuff.
Does he think he's going to host the Super Bowl halftime show?
Well, that bet has expired, so he could definitely re-up. When it said Anderson Silva, I was like, oh, he fought Anderson Silva. No, apostrophe S is his son.
The son. Although, honestly, the son might be in better shape now that I think Anderson Silva is. So.
That's true. Do you know Ben Davis? All right. So like maybe Ben Davis will knock me out. Probably for what I said here, but like maybe he'll blow us away. I'm open to it. Fresh meat. Him and Gabe are the fresh meat.
Very much. This is screaming fresh meat. What's amazing is like in two of like the high profile reality TV competition shows, we have a boxing commentator. Why did I say that so weird? A boxing commentator. And on Big Brother, there's a women's basketball commentator. So like two very niche activities we're getting commenters on the shows.
Oh, not Brian calling women's sports niche.
Oh god.
Not the WNBA niche.
No, it's not even that. It's college. Although that's probably less.
Fine. Okay, well, you said
WNBA.
women's basketball. Fine. College women's basketball. Okay. Niche? Okay, I texted my brother. I was like, I'm going to text him if he knows Ben Davis. And he's going to be like, from Hebrew school. He goes, name sounds familiar. Someone we grew up with. Boxing commentator. LOL.
It could be yes. I don't know. Maybe you grew up with him. Who knows? It still could be yes.
Oh my God, he asked if he was the music person at our Jewish summer camp. And then goes, oh, LMAO, no. That's exactly what I thought he was going to say. Oh, I'm screaming. Okay, so we're almost at the end of this. Oh, Derek, it's Derek and Blue. And I was like, wait, did I get confused? No, Derek K and Blue. Team vibes. I mean, Derek K really came out as somebody, not Derek K, Derek C. Came out as someone who is a really formidable physical contender. But when you add Blue, and you're going to tell me who Blue is, I feel like it's all vibes.
Yeah, this is very much a vibes thing. Blue's not the most physical player. She's not the most strategic player. She might think she is. She is very much not. She's a very social person, though. She, happy to get into showmance if one would present itself. But I think this is good for Derek because, as we're going to see, most likely these pairs are not going to stick. So it's not like he has to worry about winning the whole show with Blue. So that's a plus. And I think one of the concerns coming off of 40 of the challenge is Derek's threat level now like so high that people are going to be so terrified of him, of like getting to an end and doing well, that they have to target him. And I think there's only a few vets who would be like super familiar with Derek at this point, and they honestly might want to work with him. Just be like, we need numbers, like Derek, come work with us. So I don't think any like the rookies coming in, or excuse me, the new threats are gonna be like, oh, we got to get this Derek guy out. So I think this is actually a pretty decent spot that if Derek can do what he does best, which is be like the social capital butterfly of the house and build relationships and survive until the shakeup, and then all of a sudden he's now paired with like D. Like that's his winning game, and I think that is a non-zero chance of something like that happening.
I hope for this team that coming off of All-Stars, Derek's physical threat level has risen. I worry it hasn't, but I hope it has. In that, I worry there'll be an early pick for an elimination based on the pairing, and Derek doesn't deserve to be. So I hope that's not the case. I think Blue, from like a social perspective, from a television perspective, got the most or tied for the top 3 most airtime of any new threat. We see where Blue is going to room. She's going to be with Nani, Aviv, and Nisa. She's in this vet room. All the vet girls are giving confessionals about how they really like her. I think that is like an incredible spot for any new threat coming in. So to be paired with Derek, who's one of the most universally liked vets, and to get in lockstep with some of these vet girls, like I think it's a good spot for her.
The interesting thing with these 3 Big Brother people coming in is like, so America and Blue were on the same season. Cedric was on a different season. America and Blue were not really friends. I don't think they're like friends now. I think I've seen them comment to each other's like Instagram and stuff every once in a while, but I don't think they're coming in like, oh, we're working together. I think there's a lot of not like distrust between them. I do think America and Cedric are friendly at the very least, because at least during the season, America was like spoke very highly of Cedric. So I think they would be on the same page and work together. So if there is like a coalition of like the new people coming in, if they could work together, like especially like the Survivor Big Brother people, I think America and Cedric would be able to pair up. I don't know where that would leave Blue. And I don't know how much they have connection with Sydney and D from the Survivor side of it. So that's just something to watch from like the rookie US people.
Yeah, that will be interesting. And none of them are really with connected vets, right? Like Derek and Turbo and Olivia. So that's
interesting because Sydney and D are with Bananas and Leroy. So like that's like a strong foursome right there. And then like if Derek wants to like get in with them, that could be something like so like that is something to watch. Like the vets and like the US rookie people could be something.
Yeah, and even with like for the survivors, again, like I don't know how well Dee, Michaela, and Sydney get along outside the show. If they do it, if they're friends, they're friendly. I don't know if they're gonna work together or not. So that'll be another interesting dynamic.
Yep.
Okay. And like Blue just seems so funny. Like, again, I don't know what she was like on Big Brother, but like I think she had a great funny moment with TJ, like unintentionally funny, but funny nonetheless, of like, my mother's been going through these brain injuries. I want to take her on a trip to Korea. I owe her so much. And then I want to get a boob job for me. Like a little something for mom, a little something for me. Like that was hilarious.
Yeah, she's very if you would just watch the show, this was like one of the rare seasons where I was like a very much a feeder. So like if you just watch the TV show version of Blue, I think there was a lot more to enjoy, like in small snapshots. She's like very good in confessionals, like knew how to do those interviews. So I think she knew how to give those sound bites. But then when it came to like applying that to like the game, that's where it fell short. And she would just kind of like fade into the background a little bit more. So I think if you're just seeing like the cutaways of Blue, I think it could be something fun. I don't know how well she's gonna like socially navigate the game, but I could see people liking her television edit for sure.
And then next up with the last pick, CT.
Unbelievable.
Tay from Big Brother Australia already mentioned that she was playing with her sister at the time as one housemate. She did win that season. Spoiler alert. One interesting thing about the season of Big Brother Australia, it won the TV Tonight Awards, worst of 2023, both for worst Aussie show, and the host of the show won most overexposed. So
it's unbelievable. Look, if you're Tay, you come into this, you're a rookie, you don't have that many connections. You're like, oh, this is cool. Then I'm gonna go do the challenge. You do the first thing, you finish last of all the win. You're the last one to finish. You're like, all right, this is gonna be one and done. And then all of a sudden you wake up and you have CT as your partner, and you're like, holy crap, how the hell did this happen? I mean, just an unbelievable blessing for Tay, where even just from an editing perspective, like she's with CT, like they're gonna be shown, like they're gonna get like the conversations of CT being like, it's not gonna be easy, but I'm gonna make a vet out of this rookie. It was the last thing I ever do. Like she's gonna get that like fun underdog edit just being with CT. So she's gonna like just by sheer nature of who she's with, gonna I think become one of the more likable underdogs of this season, at least until they're no longer paired together.
So you think she's the new Big T?
100%. I think she's gonna be super. She's gonna be She's the show. There's just almost like no way around it. The show is gonna have to edit her to make her way because CT. It takes a lot for like CT's not gonna bash her like, oh, this person sucks. Like even with Big T when he was struggling, she's like, yeah, I'm not gonna win, but I'm gonna like do myself to build up Big T. It wasn't until after he left Big T that like people were pissed with like how he left her. But while they were together, he was not like a dick to her about being a partner. So like, he's not gonna be a horrible person to Tay. And I think just by that sheer nature, she's gonna become super likable.
Unless they're out first. No, I think that's a fair call. I don't think CT in his current state, just him talking about himself, not me making a judgment call, that he feels like he himself is in a position to be a jerk, even if he wanted to be.
Right.
So in that case, like, we get Tay saying to TJ, like, I'm worried about the fitness and the physical stuff. I want to prove it to myself. So they are primed to sort of be a good pair of both wanting to sort of prove to themselves where they're at now with the physical stuff. She is a social media girly. Apparently she's known as the boho Barbie. Her sister's the boho baddie. Question if we'd rather have the baddie than the Barbie, but yeah, it'll be an interesting pairing for sure. Rounding out the picks here, we go to Leo, who picks Anissa over Naya. I think that's a fine pick, especially if all you've seen is Naya kind of give up on this mountain challenge. Leo is from Love Island, US. You said before you watched one episode of the season, so you didn't see Leo. Honestly, like, Leo low-key rubbed me the wrong way on episode 0. I think he like had a really, like, not in a fun way, bad attitude with TJ. Like, I think he's just like laughing on the mountain, like, I'm so unserious. Like, not that I don't want them to have fun. It just came off a little F-boy for the show. And that's who he was on Love Island. Like, he was like locked up with this couple, then he wants someone else, went back to the other couple, then he did something in Casa and came back. So he had a lot of mess around him. Like, he's definitely someone, I think, who's here for the vibes, who, could have been put on X on the beach, and we need those people on the challenge. So he's on the challenge. Yep. Looks physically fit. I think it's an interesting pairing to have him with Anissa, someone who's like obviously strong in eliminations and strong in social game, not as strong necessarily all the time in the dailies. But I'm not that interested in Leo from what I saw.
No, and maybe based off the pairing, maybe we won't have to see him too long, but could also not see the pairing who was the last pairing, Justin and Nia, all too long. So there's a few people that are set up to potentially be first ones out.
Here's the thing about Justin and Nia. Like, Justin does need, or Nia does need a cheerleader for what we saw this episode. And I just cannot. I watched Cheer. I don't remember who Justin was. I tried to look him up, and I was like, you know what I found that I think the reason he's on here, and I would say the reason a lot of these other people are on here, 428,000 TikTok followers. Just for comps, Olivia only has 164,000. So definitely a big social media following for the challenge world.
Get that back on TV.
Yeah, I like Justin. I like his vibe. I don't know how him and I are going to do, but
yeah, I think he would probably seemingly do better than maybe people will think he was going to do. I think he's being a cheerleader, like he said, it takes a lot of the type of skill set of strength to do that type of stuff, to do a lot of the challenge stuff. So I think there's certainly no slashing his physical ability. But yeah, I think he's certainly coming in with as least connected as you could be. It's not like Nia is coming in super connected, so could be rough going.
I'm just looking through some notes to clean up here. I guess Jeremy does say Johnny wouldn't want to throw Aviv in. Is that Chekhov's Aviv throw in? Is Johnny gonna have to vote between Nani and Aviv?
that would be wild. No, I don't think we need the Chekhovs, the bananas turning on Aviv situation.
A lot of work to deny the foot affair, the foot hug affair of the last season. All right, cool. That's it. We get right into the first challenge, and we'll start off next week with it.
Yeah, I think this episode 0 does a great job. I think it ends at a very fun point. We're jumping right into the daily, which means we're set up for a good, it's not like it's going to be a weird cycle where it's the elimination's happening in the middle of the episode and we're lost track. I think it's going to be a nice, clean premiere. I guess I know I said we had the format. I guess we don't have the format, but, we'll learn how people go in. If it's a winning person makes the pick, losing goes in, who knows? But I think it seems to be it should be a pretty straightforward challenge format structure, which is nice. Doesn't seem to be any bells and whistles of a hopper or a light situation. Kiss of death, obviously, but I'm going to say it's going to be some combination of the winning team throws someone in, the house vote, or last place goes in. I think two of those three is how we're going to be playing this game.
It's an NCP, nice clean premiere. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, are we doing the drinking game this season or no?
Let me message Kyle Picard. I'll see. I think he probably enjoyed watching a show without doing it. Let me message him. We'll report back for episode 1 and see if we want to toss that in there.
This is not. I love that Kyle does it, and we'd be lost without him. But I do think we can still throw rules together, even if this is more to take the pressure off him. We can set up some rules and add rules and not produce the counts
totally.
If he enjoyed his time off. Also, this gagged me halfway through the episode. I accidentally have a cup in a cup. And on that's all I have to report.
Love it. Safety first. Double cups. We are, you can subscribe, robhaswebsite.com/challenge feed, right? I think that's it. Challenge iTunes, challenge feed. This has been a long break. Follow me on Twitter, Cohen_Brian_. TikTok, challenge wrap-ups. Follow you.
Can't follow me anywhere. Join us in the Facebook group. I feel like we can get to 1,000 people in the Facebook group for this season. I think it's going to be a fun one. I think there's going to be a lot to talk about. A lot, we've never had this many new people at once. I don't know. We could have had that 2 seasons ago, but it feels like this is a big influx for us, and all of them really seem cool and fun to talk about. So join us there. Also check out New Girl Old Guy. We have 2 episodes of New Girl left and 1 episode of just shooting the shit afterwards. So there will be a new episode this week. And while we were on break, I think we did like 3 more episodes. So check that out wherever you get your podcasts.
We'll be back next week. Oh, I forgot to do the fun little ad break in the middle. That's okay. It's episode 0 for us all.
What about the AI song? Is that... Don't we do more stuff, you know? Like
we can come up with some more gimmicks. We'll get some more stuff. We'll be back next week. If you have any gimmick ideas, leave it in the Facebook group. Leave it in the comments for us to do. We'll be back next week for the true premiere of Challenge 41. Until then, have a good one.
This is RHAP. We know reality TV.